Okay, so hello, you're back. We're back. It's been pretty cool, right? This is episode number.
Nine, I think.
Is it? I thought it was more than that. I was going to go episode 13 or something.
It's either eight or nine. It's not 10 yet, but
Right. Okay. So we're not in double figures yet.
no,
Are
unfortunately,
you?
we gotta get our shit together.
Yeah. There is a certain amount of truth in that. I think. I'm literally. Are you doing what I'm doing, which is like sneaking around on the website trying to find out when the last episode was and what
No,
number it was?
no.
Well,
Um,
that is what I'm doing, and this episode is actually episode 8.
oh, it's quantity. No, it's quality, not quantity. That's what they say.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't done one of these since May.
Has it really
Um,
been since May? No, no, it
yeah,
was more recent than that.
no, episode 8 was May.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got some catching up to do, I guess. It's funny that you're wearing an Acid Rain shirt. I was gonna before we start, I was gonna show you something. Um, just
Oh,
recently, as a collector of things, I'm constantly on the website Discogs where you buy
right.
vinyl and all sorts of other stuff, and I really like that
Yeah,
place because it really divides everything up to let you know exactly what pressing of what it is you're going to get.
yeah.
So somebody recently on there claimed that they had an unopened CD copy from 1990 of Obnoxious, and they were
Right.
selling it for like $10, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get that. So I got it, and then I got it, and I was like, so here it is, and I was just like, as soon as I picked it up, I was like, why did it feels weird?
Oh
And
no.
if you look, the colors are like darker
Yeah.
than normal. And even the CD, like if you look at pictures of the original CD version, that's a darker blue than is on
Yeah.
the original CD. So I went to
Yeah.
Discogs and was like, well, what the fuck is this? And luckily, the nerds on Discogs, they just have all the way down to these numbers on the back of the CD to let you know what pressing you have.
Yeah.
This is an unofficial Russian version of this album
Ah.
from 2015. For some reason in
Right.
2015, somebody in Russia pressed this version of Obnoxious.
Dude,
So
that's insane.
yeah, and I don't know. I have no idea why. And there's no, and everything else, all the other identifiers are completely copied because it's obviously just photocopied because this barcode is the
Yeah.
same. All the other things are the same, but it's just that telltale numbers on the actual CD that are totally different.
That is
It's,
bizarre.
yeah, so I now have a bootleg version of one of your albums.
Man, that's awesome. Have you played it? Does it sound like a bootleg? Is it
No,
live?
it sounds like the CD, which in this day and age, like you just take a CD version of it and
Yeah.
burn it and
Yeah, it should
repress it.
do.
But I've always wondered about, because if you look in Discogs, there's also like, I don't know if it's a Japanese bootleg version from 1990 on cassette of Obnoxious, and
Right.
I've always just been like, well, what? I've never understood the bootleg thing,
Yeah.
but I understand it even less when it's done so recently, like
Yeah.
2015 bootleg of this.
Wow.
So
That is so cool that 25 years after its release,
yeah,
somebody bootlegged the album.
yeah. So I'm still on the
That's
hunt. I'm still on the hunt for a, because I want to get like an OG 1990 CD pressing of it. Um,
right.
but
Right. Okay.
it'd be nice if it was unopened, but that'll be pricey.
I've
So
got I've got a copy that's unopened that is Japanese. So it's
oh, okay,
the original pressing, but it's the original Japanese release.
yeah,
I've got original Japanese CDs of all of them, because Moshkinstein went out as its own CD over there,
mm-hmm.
and The Fear went out as its own CD rather than both of them on one CD, which was UK and Europe,
Yeah.
without the freedom of speech, the instrumental on it.
Oh, that's weird.
Um, well, there wasn't room,
Yeah.
couldn't fit it all on there. So one of those things. But hey, Man, that's a hell of a way to start.
Yeah, I just thought
Properly
that was
surprised me
interesting. Yeah, but we can
big
get
time.
into the actual shit of this show, which if people have watched this then or listened to it on the podcast, they know it's album reviews. And
Yes.
now it's strictly album reviews. Like that is we are
Yeah.
honing in and focusing on
Yeah.
album reviews.
Yeah. And I think that's the way. I think that's the way to go for us.
Yeah,
You know.
I agree. Because we have conversations that take us in different places every once in a while, and having less segments to get to it makes I think it'll be a lot more of a smoother conversation and probably more enjoyable for everybody out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm. Well, let's hope so. You know. And also let's hope that we're. And look, you know, it's not that we're binning off the feature, but I think it's kind of like, hey, look, if you want to, if anybody wants to bring an album to our attention and say, guys, if you haven't heard of this, it's a work of genius, maybe give it a listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love, like to hear your thoughts. Then cool, do that. We're totally down for that shit.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so the door is still open. It's nothing closed. Everything is always on the menu, as always.
Yeah.
So it's is it new releases? Because are you wanting to like go over some old ground or anything like that, or are you bang up? It's all new.
I've got 4 albums that I'm wanting to talk about, and they're all 4 brand spanking new. One of them hasn't even been released yet, so.
Ooh, get you! You've got some pre-release shit going on there.
Somebody hooked me up to where I'm able to get some pre-release stuff now.
Yeah, but I'm glad that that's finally actually happened as well.
Yeah,
as opposed to me telling you about all the stuff I've got.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm trying. I wish I could get on board with more labels. I'm trying. Like I've reached out to certain labels to see if I could get on it, and most of the time it's just crickets. And so. I'll get there eventually.
Well, my advice would be to not that you asked for it, but this is what I do for a living: give unwanted advice. Yeah, I definitely drop. Not that you're not doing it, but I definitely drop the fact that the label who are sending you stuff is doing that. Because if any other labels in the genre should be going, oh well, then in that case. But hey,
yeah,
and let me know where you're going because I might have an in somewhere.
Okay,
right.
Cool. But yeah, cool. but I mean, 3 of the 4 things I'm going to talk about are from said label. So
awesome.
So we can. I don't know if you want to start this off because I've decided I kind of want to go in order from the one that I'm most excited about down to the one that I'm the most critical of. That way I don't start things off with just like, let's talk about why I don't like this.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Well, I've got let me have a look. I've got I think it's 1, 2.
This is the best part of the whole episode,
isn't it? But I'm just trying to think. Like, did we talk about Decapitated and Creator yet? Yeah, we did.
Yes,
we did.
That was the last episode.
It was, wasn't it? Cool. Okay. Well, I have a number of things to talk about too. Well, so you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay, cool. I did a really fun interview with Ryan Waste of Municipal Waste, of the Municipal Waste parish. Mm-hmm. And what a lovely chap he was. And we had such a laugh. Literally within 5 minutes, he was like showing me his Humanoia yellow 10-inch. Like the dude is just fucking absolute scene, massive record collection. It's just very, very cool. And that just made me love Electrified Brain, the new Municipal Waste album, even more. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. Cards on the table, and any other cliches that you wish to insert at this point. But I haven't been the biggest Municipal Waste fan over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. But I stuck on the opening track, which funnily enough is also called Electrified Brain.
Mm-hmm.
And just straight away I was like, oh, well, this is cool. I like this. And it just got better and better. And I don't know what it is about this album. I've gone back to old Municipal Waste since listening to this and gone, oh, I don't know. It's still, I know I'm not getting it. But the most recent album, Electrified Brain, I'm absolutely loving it. I think the production is excellent. It is kind of old school, new school, and let's throw in some lo-fi as well. Let's just give it a kind of, yeah, I don't know. This is not meant as an insult, but it will probably sound like one. It's like a really expensive demo,
Yeah.
it just, and that's a compliment. That is a compliment because it just adds to the whole vibe of the album, which for me is genuinely just like thrash album. We're just fucking going for it. If you're looking for the 6-minute song on this album, that ain't here. The only way you're going to get a 6-minute Municipal Waste song is if you listen to 2 of the 3-minute songs and put them together. It's to me, it smacks of a band absolutely in the groove. They know what they're doing. They know how they do it. They're enjoying it, and the whole thing just comes across as like there's not a weak point of this album. There's like, if this was a building, it would be on the most solid foundations there are. It is just, yeah, I really like it, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah. And the production style you're talking about, a lot of bands seem to be, it's like half and half, where a lot of people are still stuck in that weird modern clicky laptop style production. And then other ones are going out of their way to try to have some sort of classic style in their sound, while still having like good production values. And
yeah,
that is definitely how it sounds. It's funny because this was an album I was going to talk about. I was saving it for last.
Oh, I've gone and done it, motherfucker!
Because
by the way, everybody now is realizing that we really don't fucking plan this.
No, which I don't think that we should. I like it like this.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Because absolutely. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that you had interviewed Ryan, but like, I'm the complete opposite with you on this album in certain respects, because one, I didn't have a nice moment with somebody from Municipal Waste, so I don't have that going for me. I don't know them. I've heard they're nice guys.
I'll get Ryan to jump on a Zoom with you if that helps.
Yeah, I'll send him one of my old bands from the 90s, and he can tell me he really likes it, and then we'll get on. He won't like it.
I was going to say you set your sights a bit high there.
Yeah, no. But so this is the 7th Municipal Waste album, and I actually got into Municipal Waste on Hazardous Mutation, their 2nd album, and then I really liked The Art of Partying, like a lot of people do. But then like they put out another album after that, which I think was Massive Aggressive was the name of that one, and I thought that one was good too. But after that, they've done, I think, 3 more albums now, and all 3 of them, there's a little bit too much treading of the water in what they're doing. And even the production styles are so similar that, shuffling 3 albums, you'd be like, well, I don't know which album this song is on, because it all kind of sounds the same. And so, but I'm with you. Like the first couple tracks, I was like, this is pretty good. But I had the opposite feeling, where as the album went on, I was like checking my watch. I was just like, haven't they already done this riff before on this album? And so it didn't really do anything for me. But this is something that I'm going to say about 3 of the things I'm talking about today. Some albums, I listen to them and I go, do I have any right reviewing metal albums? Because for a lot of people who are fans of Municipal Waste, Electrified Brain is going to be exactly what they want the band to put out. It's good quality stuff for what they're doing. But I always feel like if somebody walks up to me and says, hey, are you a metal fan? I go, yeah. And there has to be a caveat there, where I feel like if you're the kind of person that somebody says, are you a metalhead? And you immediately go, fuck yeah, then you're going to like Municipal Waste and a couple of other things I'm going to talk about. But I'm so stuck in this thing in my brain where, especially once you've got to album 7, I'm just like, let's vary it up a little bit. Let's like throw something new at us. And I realized that I think I heard in there a little bit more of a melodic thing going on occasionally with the guitars, which it's not lost on me, and I like that.
Yeah.
But overall, like, this is a good album, but it's literally not anything that's going to make me be like, I need to recommend this to people. It's more just like,
Right.
well, do you like Municipal Waste? Yeah, you're going to like Electrified Brain. That's just, that's as far as it goes. And I feel the same way about, what is it called? The other band that Tony has. It's like a more crossover. Anyway, I don't know. Iron Reagan. It's the same thing where, like, I like aspects of it, but then I go, okay, well, this sounds like stuff that they've already done before.
Yeah.
So I'm not the target audience for that, obviously, but I do appreciate the energy of what they do, and I definitely appreciate the fact that they're responsible. They're one of the most crucial bands in the new metal and thrash metal resurgence of the early 2000s. So I can't let that pass.
Yeah. So they are 2000s Nuclear Assault.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because the vocals on this album sometimes reminded me a lot. He would do little flourishes or whatever with a line, and I'd go, that sounds like Nuclear Assault.
Well, I had the same experience, but the experience I had was that it sounded like Sean Killian.
I could see that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not anything I'll probably go back and listen to, but I do hear the positive qualities of it, and so it's just kind of it's fine kind of review from me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a meh from you.
It's a meh. It's a meh, but it's a meh understanding that it might be somebody else's fuck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is somebody else's fuck yeah. Me, you fucking twat. But again, there may be like Municipal Waste fans listening who are listening to you and going like, yeah, I absolutely get it, man. Whereas others going like, no, dude, you're out. This is great. And there'll be people listening to me going like, well, if you like this, why don't you like all the other things? Your fucking ears blocked.
Yeah.
But the thing is, music doesn't work like that. You can't. Yep. I have a friend who to this day still asks me, do you like so-and-so band? No. Really? Yeah. Why are you so surprised? Well, you like so-and-so and you like so-and-so. So I thought, it doesn't fucking work like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't, It's like, how many times has somebody recommended something to you and you go like, oh, this has got everything you like about it, blah, blah, blah. You listen to it and you're like, Jesus, this is awful.
It's like once a month at least that I get a recommendation for a thrash metal album of the year, somebody says, and I listen to it and I go, you mean the one that sounds like 50 other albums that came out last year? So
yeah.
No, I totally understand that.
No, I'm not saying you don't, but what I'm saying is like, listeners, viewers, etc. It's just opinions. But the thing is, and this is what a record company tells you when you get shit reviews, and believe me, I fucking know. But they always say the same thing. They say they always used to say the same thing. It's one person's opinion.
Yeah.
That's it. It's one person's opinion. And now, of course, there's tons of opinions out there. You know what everyone thinks, like, well, you and I for a start. Yep. So it's actually a lot more realistic. You can get a much better feel for how your album's going down and what people think, other than like reading like 4 reviews in 4 music magazines by 4 tired journalists who listened to it once and formed a load of shitty opinions, and then there's no right of reply from the fans either, as there is now. So yeah, it's just, I liked it. You didn't. There you go.
Yeah. And what I think it's important to have that back and forth. That's why that's I don't know. Those are the better reviews for me when there's a point and a counterpoint or whatever, because, I don't know. It's especially like you said, there's so many people giving their opinions. If there's not a conversation about it, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
if you don't
Right.
mind, I'm gonna jump in here because
Well,
I'm gonna
no,
go.
because I've probably got it on my list anyway. So
Okay.
whatever it is, we'll have a nice chat.
So
Go on.
so this album is the one I'm the most excited about, and it was a nice surprise because
Oh,
I'm
in
not
my head, I've got an album.
okay. This is
Okay.
probably not it, or it might be.
Okay.
It's because it's a group that I knew very little about prior to this album.
Right.
And
Okay. It's not
it's the
them.
new album from Dub War, which is called
Oh,
Westgate Under Fire. Um,
wow. That's
so
not a name I have heard for a long time.
it's their first album in 26 years. And
Well, aren't they just amateurs?
well,
I mean, who
I don't
waits
know if
that
you
long to
I
put
don't know
out
if
a
you
new
know that,
album?
but Benji's been kind of busy in another band called Skindred. So
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, yeah.
so but here's the thing. I'm not even a Skindred fan. Not that I don't like them. I've just had very little exposure to them because over here that's not a name that you hear a lot. And I
Right.
know that
Okay. Yeah.
I know they're massive in other parts of the world. Um, so I just saw this come up, and I'm like, Dub War, what's that? And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's Benji's old band from the '90s, and they got back together, and they're back on Earache, and they put out this new album, which is called Westgate Under Fire. And I was like, I'm gonna give it a listen. And it was literally one of those things where I popped the headphones in, listened to the whole thing all the way through, and every single song, I'm like, this is awesome because it was like a proper album experience. Because I mean, I haven't gone back to listen to old Dub War, but I'm assuming it's similar, where it's like a hodgepodge of genres going on. There's metal elements, punk elements, reggae elements, all this other shit. And so the album takes you on a little journey. No one song sounds like the other song, but the thing that really ties it together that I knew fuck all about was that is it Benji Webb? Is that his name? He has a fantastic voice.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
And his vocal
Jealous over
melodies,
here.
and the stuff that he writes, especially over the choruses, half of the album has those choruses that you hear the song once and you remember the chorus to that song. And there's so many different elements like that on this album where I just had such a blast all the way through to where now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to talk about this album clean. And as soon as we're done with this, it's my time to dive into not only the first two Dub War albums, but fucking Skindred, I guess.
Awesome.
Because I just had such a blast. And I've listened to it all the way through twice now. And each time I'm just like, some of these songs are just so amazingly well written, and his voice sounds amazing, and all the performances are great. So, I mean, it's like, this has the potential of being a top 10 at the end of the year for me, just
Wow, right, okay.
off my initial excitement about it.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if you've heard it yet. I guess you haven't because you didn't know that they had a new album.
No, not at all. And I had no idea that that Benji had gone back and done another album with Dub War at all. I mean, not a band I know that well from back in the day. And I've owned Skindred records in the past. It's never really stuck with me. There's a few tracks here and there. Played festivals with them, and they absolutely smash it every time. So yeah, I'm that's come out of nowhere for me. I will definitely check it out. But also it's like, it's so cool because I can see the enthusiasm on your face and how excited you're getting about it. And it's like, it's great because it's not just it. When you get that feeling about a band and it's their first album, it's kind of like, oh, great, this is awesome. But when you get that feeling about a band where there's like, oh my God, there's like stuff I can go and listen to that I don't know about, then there's another whole band's back catalogue that is massively relevant to this.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, great. It's going on safari, musical safari, You've got a number of beasts to track down.
Yeah, and I know, and I've also heard that Benji just as a live performer is amazing. So I'm really excited to dive in and find everything that I can find, because I'm now just a big fan of his. So I'm just like, cool. I'm gonna jump into all that shit. But if anyone out there doesn't know Dub War, or it's definitely worth a listen. It's your cup of tea, but yeah.
Well, if anyone listening who hadn't already thought, well, I'll give Dub War a listen. Although there was a magic word when you were ticking off the genres, I think there was a magic word in there that's a big turn off
The
for
reggae.
metal fans. I think that's the issue.
It's not. It's not.
That's
There's
the
not a
problem.
lot of it. There's elements in songs, but it's. I mean,
Yeah.
overall, it's a rock record because it
Yes.
goes on all these different areas of rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest. I like ska, love it. Like tips over into reggae, I'm out.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, like ska, I can do. Love ska. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, reggae. I've always found hard work, and I know how this is going to sound. I know how this is going to sound, but listening to reggae, I just feel so fucking white. Like I've been dipped in fucking bleach. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm just like, yeah. Do you know what? I am not. I'm not into these grooves, these vibes. It's not me. It's not who I am as a person, and it's not what I listen to. It's not what I'm looking for. But that's not dub war. That's just reggae for me. Reggae and country.
Oh, I mean, I am definitely on board with you and country. Like I'm fuck that.
Yes.
But reggae for me, it's weird because I do hear some of it sometimes that I really like, but the biggies like Bob Marley, I hear a lot of Bob Marley and I go, this is not connect with me at all. And
Yeah.
but other stuff I do hear and I go, I can get down with this because I just like a good groove and stuff like that from time to time.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate it more when they've taken that genre and kind of blown it out a little bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I would like to give credit to a fellow comedian who I've known for many, many years, over 20 years, called Brian Damage, who basically he's a musical comedian. He does one of probably like my favorite country song, which he wrote himself, and it's called Country Boy. And it's like acoustic guitar, and it's got that dun 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 kind of vibe to it. And he
Mm.
just goes, "I'm a cunt, I'm 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 a country boy, I'm a cunt, I'm a cunt, I'm a cunt, I'm a cunt, I'm a country boy."
That
And
is fantastic.
yeah, yeah, it is, and it's absolute class. So yeah, just throwing that in there, and he's also emigrating to Australia soon. So anyway, bon voyage, Brian. Take care. Right, is it my turn now?
Sure.
Sure. I'm wondering whether to go, which one to go for. Right, okay. I'll be completely honest. I have a pre-release. I have a pre-release of the new King Buffalo album,
Okay.
but called Regenerator. But I want to save the review for another time because I haven't managed to listen to it enough.
Okay. And isn't that
Okay.
their like third album in 2 years or something? It's like it seems like they've been doing
Oh
a
yeah.
lot.
The idea was 3 albums in 1 year.
Oh, okay.
That was
All
the
right.
idea. Yeah, yeah. Just picking you up there on the podcast interview. You clearly didn't watch. That I did.
I did. I
But
did. I did manage to get around to listening to Radio Bollocks and your breakdown of the two Acid Rain EPs, which was brilliant. Sign
oh,
up for his
thank
Patreon
you.
because
Oh, it's very
there's
kind.
some really entertaining stuff there. And then in Radio Bollocks, like half of it, I get to skip past because I'm like, oh fuck this. I'm all like, why are you playing Days of the New again? Get fucked, man.
Oh, mate, because it's legendary. It's awesome, man.
It is
It's
that
awesome.
that is the number one example of yarling. Whenever somebody says, "What's yarling?" Go listen to a band called Days of the New. He yarls for the entire album.
I love his voice. I know where you're coming from, though. I do know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway.
anyway, I'm going to shout out. Funnily enough, the current edition of Talking Bollocks, which came out today. Obviously
Mm-hmm.
not today when you're listening to this, but I don't know when you're fucking listening to this, so don't expect me to build this whole episode around fucking you. But and I
That
don't
was
mean you, mate.
harsh.
Yeah, it was, but listeners are used to me being a dick now, so
That's true.
why change? The album is by Nicolas Cage Fighter, Nick, the singer I had on the podcast that came out
You
today.
played a song of theirs on Radio Bollocks. I remember it.
Absolutely, absolutely. The album is called "The Bones That Grew from Pain," which straight away I think is a great. It's like that title goes, well, this is going to have some upbeat little ditties on it, isn't it? No, and it fucking doesn't, and it is heavy as fuck. It is. I use the word dense. Yeah, like it's difficult to penetrate the album because it doesn't let up.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you moments of levity. It just hits you over the head with a hammer. And to that extent, it can be a wearing listen.
Mm.
That said, I really like it, and I'm now at the stage where every time I play it, I like it that little bit more. There's something to be said for each song on the album, and there is some really cool fucking lyrics as well, which means a lot to me. In the current environment in which we live. The tracks I would recommend people having a listen to would be the opening track, Grey Eye, which is awesome. And funnily enough, track 2, which is Shrine of Wire, which is also awesome. But I found them through the single, and I genuinely can't remember what it was. And I'm like looking at the track listing now, and I'm like, it's one of those. But the first single, which straight away caught my attention because I was like, right, okay, this is like incredibly heavy, dense modern metal with a punk aesthetic. Because it was just brutal and it was just anti fucking everything. And that instantly put them on my radar and made me email the label, my contacts at the label. And I was like, keep me informed of their whereabouts, if these guys want to have a chat. And yeah, so Nicolas Cage Fighter, the Bones That Grew from Pain, 2 words for you: fucking heavy. And as I said, it can be dense, but it's worth the effort. It was for me. I like it.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
heard it at all?
from one, just the one song that you played, and dense is a good word because but that's what turns me off with a lot of modern metal is some of it. There's not enough air in it for me, and sometimes I'm really picky about vocals. So just sort of straight shouted vocals, you got to have some sort of really interesting character to your voice to really bring me in. So that one song wasn't enough for me to be like, I'm on board with this. But I feel like if I listen to the album, I might have a better idea of getting the nuances of everything.
Sure. I think if you listen to the whole album, you'd fucking hate it.
Probably. Well,
okay, dude.
Speaking of an album that I thought I was going to hate, and I actually kind of enjoyed, the new Soulfly album, which is called Totem,
right?
Which is their 12th album, and I say
them, folks. 12.
I say theirs. It's Max's 12th album with the dudes that he's playing with at the time.
Yeah.
But
the Tribe.
And at this point, it's just three people on the album, with Max's son Zion playing drums, which he's fine as a drummer. So the thing that was interesting about this album, because I have complaints and I have things that were surprisingly entertaining. First off, the thing I have to say is that the energy of this album is incredible. Like Max's vocal delivery, I'm like, is he really like a 50-year-old man? Because he's like, it sounds really good. Just his whole energy, it sounds really good and really dialed in. And the production is similar to what you're talking about with Municipal Waste, where they try to have a little bit of an old school vibe with modern production. And it's produced by Arthur Risk, which he's the guy that everybody's going to for that sound now, because he did Power Trip and he did.
There you go.
He actually did the last Cavalera Conspiracy album, which is the first one of theirs that I actually really enjoyed. But here's where the gripes come in. If you take the last Cavalera Conspiracy album and this Soulfly album, it's almost like there's no difference between the two bands now, because
Right.
they've both gone down this route where most of the new metal aspects that I originally remember from Soulfly are pretty much totally gone, and they've gone back to more straightforward thrash with just a little bit of groovage here and there. Um, but and this is the same sort of thing where you do get those kind of groovy, moments, but mostly it just comes across as kind of a thrash album. Um, but it is all, most of the songs, once you get to the later part of the album, it starts to wear on me a little bit, but I was just surprised at how much I was just kind of like, yeah, to like certain riffs and certain parts of the songs.
Yeah.
Because I'm very critical of both sides of the Sepultura split. I've grown now with the last three albums, getting really into Sepultura, what they're doing now. Great.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Soulfly, it was the other way around, where they started off and I was like, oh, this is such an interesting sort of like, it's new metal. There's some rap metal. There's like a hodgepodge of things. I really like this. And then they went through this period where, oh no, now we're doing death metal. Oh no, now we're throwing in some grindcore in here. And I just got so like, what are you even doing? Like what, like, what is this? And now they've come out of it where now they're trying to go into the more thrash area. And I'm just like, well, I appreciate it and I enjoy it. But unfortunately, when you listen to Soulfly, it's impossible to not think to yourself, this is nowhere near as good as that last Sepultura album. Because it's just not. But it did exceed my expectations and I did really enjoy it. And the one thing that I have to say, I don't know exactly if this is true, but I saw Soulfly maybe like 10 years ago. And there was a guitar player who was really good, who played with Soulfly for many, many years. Just recently, I think he was kicked out or left or
Mark
something.
Rizzo.
Yeah. And when I saw Soulfly live, the thing that I remember being kind of baffled by was the amount of guitar playing that Max did not do.
Yeah,
He
Mark
literally
was, yeah.
he would just not even touch his guitar, have his hands up here in the mic and just doing vocals. And the music for that stretch of albums, it gave me the idea of like, I feel like Max isn't writing these riffs and it's Mark writing these riffs, and that's the direction the music is taking. Now it sounds like riffs that Max would write, and I'm kind of enjoying that aspect of it now, where
Right.
I feel like there's no outside influence of, well, let's throw in this little modern melodic bit. Max it seems like still such a sort of meat and potatoes, thrash groovy kind of guy. And
Yeah.
I really like that. And in a way, it makes it stand out more for me from what Sepultura are doing, because Sepultura are just fantastic musicians who every little weird left turn they've taken on the past few albums, I've gone, man, they fucking nailed that.
Yeah.
And for Soulfly now, I like that it's getting a little bit more honed in and straightforward. There's still some experimental elements. There's a fucking instrumental song, like it's like Soulfly 12 or whatever, because he has a Soulfly on each one. It literally sounds like a leftover instrumental from an old Cure album. I'm just like,
right, okay.
So, and I was like, that's kind of cool. It has the same sort of guitar effect that like Robert Smith would have probably still uses on stage. I don't know. So there's enough to keep it entertaining. If I was going to give it a rating, like out of 5, I'd give it like a 2.5 or 3, maybe a 3 out of 5, because I did really enjoy parts of it, but there were things about it I'm like, well, this is a little bit run of the mill for some of these riffs and some of these parts, and it sounds like stuff that Max has already done many times. But once again, if you're just a full-on metalhead and you just want metal brought to you, I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be like thinking this is one of the best albums of the year, because quality-wise, like just the package of it, I think is really well done.
Well, that's really interesting to hear, and I haven't got round to the new Soulfly album yet, so I will definitely have a listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
One question for you, from what you were saying there, about a kind of like less new metal influences and getting back more to sort of raw thrash metal basics.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say in any way is Max returning to his roots?
Oh my God. Let you know what? Not only is he's so much returning to his roots that there's a song called "Rot in Pain," where way back in the day there was a song called "Rest in Pain," and he literally says it the same way. He goes "Rot in Pain" in the chorus, and I'm like, does he not know that they already wrote "Rest in Pain" like years ago?
Well, I would personally say that this is clearly a reference to the original song, and the original song, whoever he was saying "May they rest in peace," now it's like, nah, fuck him. Rot.
You're probably right. And that makes me like that part even more now. And that's the thing. That's the thing is that overall, every time I get really critical about Max, like I just see interviews with him and I go, that dude seems like he's a totally nice dude. And so it makes me like, that's why, like, if I ever get to the level where you are, where I'm getting to talk to all of these people, you're going to probably see my demeanor change because I'm going to be like, he's a really nice guy. This sounds really good because being a genuinely good person goes a long way with me. And so,
yes, it's same. Yeah.
So anyway, Soulfly is enjoyable.
I hate it when somebody who I like and has been on the podcast, and depending on like how well I know them or whatever, I hate it when they put out that something that's just shit, and I've got to call it. I've got to call it as I see it, because otherwise, you're just a shill for the record company.
Yeah.
So it has to be done. But I genuinely haven't heard the new Soulfly album, so I will get on the case.
Cool.
Moving on nicely from in fact, I've just seen. I think this album comes out. Well, as we're recording this album comes out very soon. And this is the new album from Soilwork. Called Overgiven Hetten. Is
that a different language?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a Swedish word again. Check out the interviews that I did with Bjorn, and it's a Swedish word that kind of means, or as close as you can get in Swedish, to abandonment.
Okay.
Which is very much a theme that runs through the album. Okay. And I said, I had Bjorn on a couple of times, but actually I had him on a couple of times to do one episode of the podcast, which is out there, so check it out, folks. And that's the first time I'd spoken to him for 8 years. I've been a Soilwork fan ever since they did the seemingly impossible and put out a fucking great double album, which to this day still amazes me. And the new album, Overgiven Hetten, it's just, oh fuck, excuse me. It's epic. Yeah. It's genuinely, I mean, all the videos for the singles are already out. Like, watch the videos. They're like, you just fall into them. They're properly, beautifully constructed. Some are completely different to others, but it's I don't know how one band can consistently put out such high level work, and I really feel like Soilwork are one of those bands that you speak to somebody who knows Soilwork and they're like, one of the greatest metal bands of the last 25 years, and you'll speak to somebody else and you go, I've never really got round to them.
Which is me. That's me.
yeah. But it's literally, it seems to be like the opposite ends of the spectrum, and I don't know why. I really, really don't know why. But it's a stunning piece of work. I mean, it is. I mean, Bjorn is such an accomplished vocalist. It's unbelievable.
But from what I'm remembering from hearing Soilwork, isn't it just your regular run of the mill shouty vocals over some extreme metal? Because that's what I remember hearing when I heard their stuff before.
Well, the thing is that this is like that is early doors Soilwork,
Okay.
and what I love about this band is that every album is just another layer of songwriting skill, another layer of
Okay.
maturity. Another, do you know what? They're the kind of album that if Soilwork put out the follow up to this and it was an acoustic album, loads of people out there just be going, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
He's an incredible vocalist, and
Okay.
there's very little, there's very little, if any, growling. At some points, speaking as a singer, at some points there he has got like 3 or 4 different parts going on at the same time, and it's
Yeah,
intricate and beautiful.
my experience with him must have been from really early stuff because that's not what I remember. So that's interesting. That makes me kind of want to go check this out now.
And anyone, and this applies to anybody because it's really interesting because I'm somebody who has discovered Soilwork and you're somebody who hasn't. Mm-hmm. So for people listening, watching who have, who are aware of Soilwork will be like, well, yeah, that's what they do. I'm looking forward to the new Soilwork album coming out. I fully expect it to be in my top 5 at the end of the year, and it'll be musically and vocally absolutely fucking brilliant. And they will touch on some really interesting themes that other bands don't. And there'll be other people that will be like, "Oh, are they still going?" So yeah, it's like, yeah, if you're into them, you're going to love it. If you're not into them, it really is worth listening to because there is quite simply some majestic classic metal on there. There is nothing they won't touch. There's no instrument that is ruled out. There is no there's no sections or parts of songs. They will go anywhere where they feel the song needs to go. And big fan right here.
Cool. That it's kind of an interesting segue to the last album I'm going to talk about because this is another band that's been around for a while and a lot of people really like. And my relationship with them has never been anything except frustrating because I've always liked some aspects and always really been turned off by other aspects. And this is the first time I get to review an album that hasn't come out yet. This is the new album from Machine Head, which is called Of Kingdom and Crown.
Now, do you know what? Do you know what's really interesting? I don't have it.
You get it the same place I get it.
Yeah, I don't have it.
That's
you
weird.
Do.
Well, the tables have turned, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, this album comes out on August 26th. So even when this episode comes out, I think it's still another week till it comes out.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
Yesterday, I did have a very brief conversation with Rob Flynn.
Oh, okay.
At Bloodstock.
And he's another one of those guys that I think people like to hate on, but occasionally I'll see an interview with him and I go, I don't know, he seems like an okay guy. I don't know why people hate on him so much.
I always remember that. I remember the interview he did prior to the last album coming out. This next album is going to be heavy, it's going to be crushing, it's one of the best things we've ever done, blah blah blah. And the interviewer was like, I know you're going to say all that, and the kids are going to love it. And he went, well, actually, no. I think this is one of those Machine Head albums where people who get it will be really into it and people who don't will fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll find it. It's the first time I can remember hearing somebody go, do you know what? Not everyone's going to, not even fans of the band. There's going to be fans of the band out there who won't get this album and won't like it.
Yeah.
And he was right.
And I think the aspects of that album that people didn't like were the aspects that I liked, like the nu metal aspects of
rap?
It. Yeah. To be completely honest.
And you don't like Slipknot? Amazing.
Well, here's the thing. I feel exactly the same about Slipknot though, because over the years I'll hear things and some parts I go, that's fucking great. And then it'll be followed by something where I go, they should have just cut that out of the entire fucking song. So anyway, the new Machine Head album, Of Kingdom and Crown, it's a frustrating album because if I take a step back and I try to just put myself in the mindset of a guy who just loves metal, this is a very good album. Like that's, but the more that we pull into like my brain and what I want out of an album, this is it. It's like every other Machine Head album I've heard, where the aspects of it are just like one curb away from being really good. To where like I'm like, oh, if only they could do just, I don't know what it is, but it needs to be this much higher up. And I'm not just talking about songwriting. I'm a lot talking about Rob Flynn's vocals, because he's a guy that like, it always seems like it's not quite where it needs to be, whatever he's doing vocally. It's like it's here, should be about here.
Right.
And on this album, he does a lot of singing.
Right. Okay. I know where you're coming from now then.
But even his like shouty vocals, I'm always like, it's a little bit, it seems like it should be a little bit more aggressive. But I mean, I don't know if that's just his style. But
yeah,
the album has, begins with like an 8-minute track with a whole lead in where he's just doing melodic vocals. And I don't think he's the best singer in the world, but I'm also not, so I don't know what to say about that. But I feel, but like a lot of the vocal style of what he does, it's so much what I don't like about Home Dude from Slipknot, where the style of it does not connect with me at all.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But like that being said, like the production value on this album is great, has some really cool riffs on it. Overall done really well. Like just everything about it, I'm like, well, they put the effort in to make this album, because there's nothing that appears to be phoned in. But what does seem to happen, because the first single that was released from this, or the first one I heard, was called Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate, and that was a Machine Head song where I went, fuck yeah, is this going to be the album for me? No, it didn't turn out being the album for me, but I like that song a lot. But my problem with it, and you can jump in if this is a reason why I wouldn't like a band like Soilwork or bands like that, because sometimes there's metal, and I say sometimes, a lot of times there's metal that seems to be so much trying to tick off boxes of what's metal, that every time something happens, I go, oh, well, they had a little box. And I go, well, we got to do that one stompy bit right there. Oh, we had to do a blast beat right there. Oh, we have to do this melodic breakdown right here. And so the Machine Head album feels very calculated, like formulaic, well done. But a lot of the parts I go, oh, they had to make sure they got in this part here because that needs to be on a metal album. So it almost seems like it's,
I have to say at this point that it's literally you're describing the opposite of Soilwork.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It's like they're all about fucking with convention and just doing whatever they like. So
So and whereas Machine Head seems more like celebrating the things in metal that everybody loves, which is fine, because that's why I sometimes feel like I'm not the person to be reviewing this, but at the same time, maybe I am, because I'm bringing another view of a guy that listens to mostly metal, but I hear some things and I can't get past the fact that some of it feels disingenuous, I guess would be the word.
Yeah. It doesn't sound authentic.
Yeah, but it's frustrating for me, because there's so much about it that I go, if a few little things were just done a slightly differently, I'd probably be a massive Machine Head fan. But every single thing I've heard, even going back to the albums that everyone's like, this is an absolute classic, I'll listen to it and go, it's not quite there. It's like, but who the fuck?
Obviously, you don't mean Burn My Eyes, because that is a fucking classic.
No, all of their albums.
Oh, God.
Like literally every album I've ever heard has aspects that I think are great and other aspects that I go, I don't know why this doesn't connect with me, but it absolutely doesn't.
Oh, no, look, even Machine Head fans will say that, like, if you've got a 12-track Machine Head album and there's like 5 or 6 great tunes, then you've done well. No, I don't think anyone's expecting a Machine Head album to be like killing it from start to finish.
Yeah.
Which is really weird as well, because The Blackening got massive praise, and everyone was raving about that. And that was the first Machine Head album that I really didn't like.
Yeah, that was actually the first one that I heard all the way through. And even then,
well done.
like half of the album at the time, because it was that 10 years ago plus, like it's been a while since that one came out. That was the same thing where there was a few songs where I was just like, this is so fucking good, followed by a song where I was like, this just feels very like we needed to fill this gap with this kind of song right here, and this will do.
Well, I liked The Locust. I liked Bloodstone and Diamonds. I thought the last album had a few little bits and pieces here and there which were really cool, but it was mainly garbage. But the
you might like this one more then, because it gets rid of the rapping and all of that stuff.
No, but it wasn't the rappy element. I mean, look, when the Burning Red came out, I was bang into it. You know, I still like the Burning Red as an album, which is where he first starts rapping.
I've noticed that with the rap metal stuff that they did, if I had never seen the music videos, I'd probably be more into the songs, because like just hearing the songs, I'm like, this is pretty good. But the videos were so generic for the time. Hey, I'm gonna braid up my beard and color it, and I'm gonna look sideways at the camera while my guitar's really low down at my feet. It was literally tick boxes of like, what are the new metal people doing? Let's do all these things.
Yeah.
Does somebody have weird spiky hair? Nope. Get on that spiky hair now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I get it. I get it. I mean, and you know, they are a band who puts out divisive albums in their own fan base. Supercharger is another one. You know, some people love that. I mean, for me, it's got 3 songs on it.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, but again, this is the Machine Head thing. The 3 songs I like on Supercharger are fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
They are absolutely rip your face off, fucking brilliant. But the problem is that makes you hate the other 9 songs even more. Yeah. And it feels even more frustrating, because it's like, don't do me like that. Yeah. Don't do me like that. Don't give me these 3 songs and then like go, oh, but yeah, and here's the other 9.
Yeah.
You know,
it almost makes me feel like I'd probably enjoy a live performance for them, because maybe they pick all the best chunks from all the albums, and I'll be like, hey, this is a good album, this live one.
Oh man, I saw them way back in the day on their first UK dates, which weren't with Slayer. I saw them with Slayer, but they did some dates with on their own. They did a headline this big show in the Astoria in London for Burn My Eyes, and that was awesome. At the end of the gig, everybody was on stage. It was just insane, and you know, like Burn My Eyes just blew me away as soon as it came out. I bought 2 copies of Burn My Eyes because I walked into a shop called Metalhead in London, and I knew the guys there, and Hector was there, and Hector, like heavy metal Hector, he just fucking knew everything. And I walked in and he just went, "You're going to love this album I'm going to put on." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He went, "Yeah. Rob Flynn of Violence has put a band together, and it's the best thrash album that's come out for years." And I was like, a new thrash album? This sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And I listened to a bit of it, and it got as far as like Old track 2. And I was like, just give me two copies, one for me and one for my best friend, also a Machine Head fan, who I was staying with whilst in London. And I like went home. He came home. I was like, "Dude, there you go." And he's like, "What's this?" Bearing in mind, this really is aging us, obviously, because it's like we had no idea this was coming out or anything.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, what's this?" I said, "It's a new album by Machine Head. Rob Flynn is the main guy." And he was like, "Her name rings a bell." I was like, "Used to be in Violence." He's like, "Oh, all right then." Put it on, and he had the exact same reaction as me, which was just like, "Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah,
this is fucking great. No one's done this for years."
That's got to be the highest praise for an album. Like, that's so good. Not only give me one for me, give me one for my friend.
Absolutely. Because it was just like, I know he'll like it. Now, everything I said earlier, right at the beginning about, "Oh, well, you like that and you like that, so you should like that," and you fucking don't. It doesn't work that way. Well, it worked that way this time.
Yeah.
It was just like, boom. So anyway, you know, and also let's not forget, like him or loathe him, Rob is still going, still putting out,
Yeah,
putting out new albums.
yeah. And like I said, if anyone out there is listening and you just love metal that's done really well, then this album's great. But it's for somebody who can't stop picking things apart when he's listening to stuff, especially an album like this, because this is an album that's presented like it's supposed to be a big deal and the songs are really like grand and everything.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to just sit back and enjoy it because I keep hearing things where I go, this seems a little bit forced, or like I said, ticking boxes of things that they need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I was saving this one for last, because I didn't want to be all like, hey, Machine Head, everybody, welcome to the episode. This album's not that great for me.
Yeah, but you know what? There's going to be plenty. I mean, again, if we're critical or praising or whatever, they're just our opinions. I think there's there's plenty of podcasts and online reviews who just fucking like everything. They just love everything. I wrote a critical review of Megadeth Supercharger, or as it will always be known to me, Super Cunter. I'd rather smear shit in my ears than listen to that album ever again. And
you're talking about Super Collider. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I just wrote this really critical review for a website, said like, and I sent it in. They asked me if there was anything I wanted to review, and I was like, yeah, cool. It's like, we have a guest reviewer, blah blah, celebrity reviewer. So I sent it in, and the reply was, "I'm really sorry. Should have said we don't publish any negative reviews."
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, what a brilliant objective website you are. People are really going to go to your website for the fucking truth, for the latest hot take on, is it any good? Well, everything's good. So what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Honestly. Anyway, on that note, if you like Revocation, come September, you are going to be very, very happy, in my opinion. Okay? So basically, we're talking Monday, September the 5th, or Friday, September the 9th. Not quite sure. I think it's Monday. But we'll see. Nether Haven, or Nether Heaven, I'm not quite sure, is coming out. You're going to get even more excited when I tell you these 2 bits of information.
Okay.
9 songs, 44 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And exactly. I would call myself a Revocation fan too. Even though Home Dude's vocals do border on that sort of bland, shouty stuff, and I wish that he would do more with his voice. Musically speaking, though, I was on board with that band from album 1. That first album, Existence is Futile. I was just blown away by the guitar work and the surprises in the songwriting. So anytime they put out an album, I'm fascinated to listen to what they're going to do next. So.
Well, this is I spoke to David literally just before we spoke, and my 2-word album review, fucking brutal.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, what's wrong? You okay? Everybody okay? Family okay? Because you did this, it's just phenomenal. I mean, it is really intense. It is brutal. It's everything that you want from a Revocation album. I mean, if you like technical death metal, or if you just like straight ahead death metal, then this album could be for you. And if you don't like death metal and stuff like this, album still could be for you, because they are a band who make shit interesting. And the level of musicianship is fantastic, which is great. And the thing is, nobody ever said, I love this band because they're such great musicians, because ultimately it's about songs. It's not about how good the musicians are. There needs to be somebody in the band who can also write songs. And luckily with Revocation, you get the whole deal. So I genuinely, there's no need to sort of kind of rabbit hole on this album because I genuinely have said all I think needs saying about it, and it is just some people are going to be going online, going onto Amazon and typing in "I need a new face."
Yeah.
So
they are definitely an album that if you are a guitar player, or if you hone in on guitar work on an album, any one of their albums is one to go to.
Well, it's funny you should say that because David Davidson is available for guitar lessons, but unfortunately August is booked out and he will be taking bookings from the beginning of September.
Holy shit.
Because he just told me that. So yeah, there you go. Hey, I mean if that's not a nice little cherry to put on top of the cake that is old bollocks, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, I'm jealous that you got that one early because that's one that I'm interested to hear.
And I'm really interested to hear. I'm really genuinely interested to hear Machine Head as well. So
Dub War. Make sure you get on.
Dub War as well. Yeah, no, I will. Well, I think that's it, isn't it, dude? I think we've fucking nailed this episode.
Yeah, I think that this particular kind of format, like just hit the ground running, review some albums, have a conversation, and then fuck off. Like I think that's what we're missing in the world of podcasts these days, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, if you're not, you've got a choice. If you're a podcast, you're either doing it on your own, talking about some extreme subject, or you're interviewing people, or you're reviewing shit. Yeah. And this is essentially reviewing shit. Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's nice to have a little bit of back and forth as well. I'm interested. I'm interested about Machine Head because I don't know. Some of the songs I've heard from the new album, I've just thought, oh God, really?
Yeah.
And then I couldn't even tell you how many singles are out.
I think 3.
Well, I know I fucking hated one of them, and I kind of liked the other 2. Yeah. So, but I've learned over the years. It's Machine Head. So how many songs on it? 85.
No. Actual songs, maybe I think 9, because there's a couple like interlude type things.
What a surprise!
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to throw it out there. There'll be some quite long intros, well produced, but songs will take some time to get going.
A whole lot of clean guitar intros that go on a little too long. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Rob, we shouldn't be surprised by that. We've had that going for quite a while. Is there a ballad?
No.
Oh, thank God for that.
There's good. No, nothing that I would call a proper ballad. There's a kind of a slower melodic kind of song, but it's still a heavy song. It's not a ballad. I would say.
I'm good. I'm gonna give it a listen. I'm obviously going to give it a listen, but I'll tell you what. Next episode, I can come back on Machine Head. I need to give King Buffalo a review as well for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's talk about them.
Cool.
Next time.
The next time I see you, as far as I know, what the things that are coming out within the next month, I'm probably going to have a nice handful of things to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to let me know what you think of Revocation as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, dear listener, dear viewer, it's been a pleasure as always. As we said at the beginning, feel free to hit us up and let us know, forgotten masterpieces or overlooked masterpieces that only came out a couple of weeks ago. We'd be more than happy to listen to them because I still can't thank Stefan Blaine enough for suggesting that I listen to Warrenta by Deficiency, because that is going to be in my top 5 albums of the year. It is fucking incredible. So do it, guys. Do it. And hey, there's no need to start telling you about social media, because presumably you are aware, dear listener and viewer, that it exists. Neither of us are defined. So, come say hi, share the podcast, tell people to subscribe, whatever it is you want to do. Yep. But, please do that.
Cool.
That
wrapped it up nicely.
Okay, right. Well, in that case, it's almost like I've been doing this for like 8 years, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a pro.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, guys. See you next time.
See ya.